there's quite a few different ways that you can work on the back lever, but over the years, when I come back to work on the back lever, I find myself gravitating towards using these 4 positions and keeping it very simple. So if you've watched the front lever tutorial, you'll see that it's pretty much the same. Again, keeping it simple and just being aware of each position, spending time in that position before jumping on to the next one. With the back lever, there are 2 hand positions that we want to focus on when doing this. I suggest in the very beginning that you keep it relatively easy on the arms. And so the way to do that is by having the palms facing upwards. This is going to place more focus on the shoulders rather than the elbows when you're working on the back lever. So in the beginning, once again, I suggest starting with the palms facing upward when you're doing these progressions. Work through those, work up to maybe the straddle or even the full back lever before starting to work on keeping your palms facing towards the ground. With the palms facing towards the ground, you'll find it'll put more emphasis on the elbows and the biceps. And by first focusing on keeping the palms facing up, you're going to be working on strengthening those positions before you start loading the arms with the other hand placement. So before we get into this tutorial, I will say that the first order of business is making sure that you're working on your skin the cat. The skin the cat is kind of going to be a prerequisite for what we're doing here. So if you've never done the skin the cat before, I suggest spending diligent time working on that, making sure that you're opening up your shoulders and you're comfortable with this position. Now with the skin the cat, I will say that one way to work on it, rather than just let your feet hang free, is to actually set up your rings, or if you're using a bar, use a bar that's low enough that allows you to place your toes on the ground so that you have control while you're in that skin the cat position. Now the first position that we're going to use for our back lever work is the simple tuck. Now you want to stay tucked as tightly as possible, and there's 2 ways that you're going to work on this. In the very beginning, you're simply going to go from an inverted hang and you're just going to lower yourself to that dead hang. So this is very, very similar to the skin the cat position that you've been working on, right? So first work on that tight tuck, slow lower, and when you're feeling very comfortable, then it's time to pause midway, work into about 3 to 5 second hold for that tuck position. The next position is where you're simply going to open up the tuck a bit more. Now, simple in theory, yes, but remember that by opening up the tuck, it's going to be placing more load on the body. So focus on that slow negative. Focus on what's going on in your body, in the shoulders, what's going on with your hands, what are you feeling during the movement. This is very, very important. Spend time working on that, and when you feel very comfortable, then it's time to go ahead, pause in the middle, hold that open tuck back lever position for about 3 to 5 seconds. Next up is the straddle back lever. Now, the cool thing about the straddle is that you can adjust the straddle. So if you want to make it a little bit easier, straddle wider. Gradually, you can work on taking your legs closer together as you perform that negative, and then once you're comfortable, of course, holding the middle position for 3 to 5 seconds. Now you might find yourself piking. If that's the case, then what I suggest is going back to that open tuck and focus on that a bit more. So when you're lowering from that straddle, that's the focus you want to have, is to not pike your body. So either straddle wider, making sure you're not piking, or go back, spend more time on that open tuck position. You're now ready for the full back lever. Now this should be a natural progression, because after working with the straddle and slowly bringing your legs closer together, should just happen. And so once again, try not to pike. And I mentioned this in the straddle portion of it, but you might find yourself piking. If that's the case, when you're performing the full front lever, simply open up your legs a little wider. Bring the focus to what's going on in the body, making sure that you're not piking. So focus on that nice position as you're lowering yourself from the negative portion, and then focus on holding that middle full back lever position for about 3 to 5 seconds. All right, so that's it for the back lever. Now, there's only 4 positions, but the cool thing is that there are a lot of little nuances within each of those positions. When you're working on the straddle, you can adjust that depending on how you're feeling that day. You can straddle wider, you can bring your legs closer together. As well, that day, let's say you're working on that straddle, the form starts to deteriorate. So what you can do is drop down to that open tuck, continue to add in volume, get in more quality repetitions of the back lever while continuing to strengthen yourself. Also remember, once you're very comfortable with the first hand position, feel free to turn your hands over and work on that hand position. It's going to completely change the dynamic of the back lever. I do suggest to start at the very beginning, once again with the tuck position when you start to do that new hand position.